maybe it would also be lovely if you could also start introducing what you are building with Miora together with your co-founder, Nikolai, and introduce us to the moment where you guys realized you need to build in that space.
So basically, what we're building with Miora and tagline, we're building open cloud for health. What does that mean? We believe that everyone needs to have their health automated because it's so difficult to stay optimized healthy when you have a stressful life, as for example a founder, investor, or someone working in tech. So this is why we're building a proactive health assistant that helps you to run your health on autopilot. It books your workouts for you, it schedules them via berries and ClassPass, for example. We're currently talking to Equinox, and it will also order your food and supplements for you, so like groceries. In general, we believe people shouldn't be interacting with like thousands of interfaces.
What's the strategy here to really build a big community, right? To get to this 1 billion people who are sort of part of the Miora community in some shape or form?
I think I used to be like ashamed of being a community builder, or like, I thought it's not like a real asset to have, but I realized it's actually a crazy asset to have. Like, I love hosting, I love organizing. That's what I've been doing over the years, just like very naturally. And that's how we have like grown our community. It's very easy for me to kind of leverage community and network and bring people together. And people love being brought together, especially when you feel like those are like-minded people.
Okay, welcome to Be Well. My guest today is Karina Repko, co-founder of Miora, an AI health assistant that doesn't just track your data, it acts on it, and it books your workouts, orders your meals, adjusts your recovery, and a lot more. And I'm very, very curious to learn more about Miora on this episode. And Karina, welcome to Be Well. And I would love to hear, before talking about Miora, a bit more about your background. I think you're getting now the chance to introduce yourself, share a bit about your background and what led you into the wellness and health space.
Yeah, hi Tobi. Very nice to be here. I'm very excited for this podcast. So yeah, my name is Karina. I'm originally from Ukraine. I grew up most of my life in Switzerland, which is basically 10 years. That's the longest I've ever been in a place. I lived by now in like 6 different countries basically. And I have a background in business. I studied at the same uni like you. I went to University of St. Gallen. Later on studied at IE, and I spent basically the past 4 years working in health from different kind of angles. The motivation here was basically when I was like 17, 18 years old, I got very early in like meditation and Buddhism and Vipassanas and stuff like that, which means when you go down that rabbit hole, you start thinking a lot about like death, because that's kind of what meditation and like Vipassanas kind of lead you to do. So you start thinking about like, how do you want to be remembered when you die? Or what's the kind of footprint that you want to leave? And for me, it was very clear early on, health as wealth. I used to compete in gymnastics when I was a kid, and was very interested in that. And I believe when people are healthy, they can have better relationships, better careers, better general well-being. And in the end, the most important thing is to be like happy and healthy, I believe. So started my career back then as a consultant working for pharma. And later on, built up Maximum with like entrepreneurs from Switzerland. Was with Abaya for a while, and moved to Berlin 2 years ago to join a VC. And last I was Circle Health, which is basically a functional health clinic. I think you had Yannick on the podcast as well. And all of those experiences very, very, very relevant to what we do. And actually never worked in tech before, and then decided last year to build basically tech-enabled product for health, which I believe did not exist back then. And that's where we are.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that introduction, and also your personal insight. Wasn't aware of that, of your background, that you're so much into meditation and what role that plays now for your current endeavors. Could you maybe share some more insights about that? Share some more context about your sort of maybe even spiritual background. I mean, was it really that moment when you were 17, 18 that you decided to go all in on meditation, and where you learned a lot more about yourself? Was there sort of a trigger moment back then that changed your life, even, if I may ask?
Yes. So I have this thing that I can't really remember books and I can't really remember like movies very well. Like if you ask me about some movie or like actor or like what was happening in a movie or book, like I barely remember. But there's one book that I read when I was like 17, 18, that kind of triggered it a lot. And it's a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's by Robin Sharma, and basically it's about a lawyer who is who's basically burning out or who burns out. And then he starts questioning his whole life. He has all of those like material assets. He's had like per se outer view, like a very successful life, successful career, successful materialism. And then he kind of ditches all of that, literally sells his Ferrari and like everything that he owns and goes to India to find monks in the mountains. And then he kind of starts figuring out what's the purpose of life, what's the sense of life. And I was very early on, like kind of trying to find my purpose in life. I believe a lot of people search for that for a long time. And I couldn't believe that so many people were like very unhappy with their jobs, working in something that they felt like they should just basically work in without having a proper purpose. And I started looking for that purpose. And how do you find that purpose is basically by trying to go inward and trying to understand yourself, your life so far, what you want to do, and like asking yourself a lot of questions. And when you have like 10 days during Vipassana, where you basically sit in a Buddhistic monastery and not having any distractions at all, you go very deep with yourself. You understand your childhood, you understand your trauma, you understand your fears, everything in life that you basically put under a little carpet that you don't want to look at. During Vipassana, that's the time where all of that kind of comes out. And those were like moments for me where I started like realizing what do I want to achieve. And I started like community building a few years ago, running like health retreats and events and stuff. And I realized this is something I really enjoy. And all of those experiences kind of led together to be building what I'm building right now. Not
Amazing.
sure if that answers
Um,
your question.
I'm very curious. I'm very curious. Maybe it's more of a personal question I have. I'm very curious about these meditation practices about spirituality, and I've encountered now this topic of silent retreats and meditations for a while now. So maybe that must be a sign, and I should go further in. But interesting to hear what impact it has had on you and how profound that experience is to go on one of these experiences, meditation practices. Amazing, Karina. Now you've been in SF for a while now. And I'll be wondering, you just joined that program, Founders Inc., which is a program specifically for founders. And I'll be wondering what that program is about and how it has helped you now recently. And maybe it would also be lovely if you could also start introducing what you are building with Miora together with your co-founder, Nikolai, and introduce us to the moment where you guys realized you need to build in that space.
Yes, sure. So basically what we're building with Miora, fancy tagline, we're building open cloud for health. What does that mean? Basically, we believe that everyone needs to have their health automated because it's so difficult to stay optimized healthy when you have a stressful life, as for example a founder, investor, or someone working in tech, and that hasn't been done so far. So this is why we're building a proactive health assistant that helps you to run your health on autopilot. How do we do that? Basically, we monitor your health through your wearables, lab results, and the goals and preferences that you want to reach, and based on that, Nora understands your whole health context, and via a team of health agents, it books your workouts for you, it schedules them via Berries and ClassPass, for example. We're currently talking to Equinox, and it will also order your food and supplements for you, so like groceries. In general, we believe people shouldn't be interacting with like thousands of interfaces. And as dear Peter Scheinberger from OpenClass also says, in 3 years, 80-90% of the apps will be dead. So I believe the whole interaction of people interacting with the apps will be very different. No manual tracking. This is also why Miora is now available on iMessage. It's not available on WhatsApp yet for our dear Europeans, but on iMessage it's available. You could text with her. You could tell her, hey, I don't know, Monday's Barry's class is always full at that time. Can you go online and book it for me the moment it goes online? And as if it's like huge problem, for example, at Solid Core, which is like a huge Pilates studio here. If you don't put your alarm at 5 a.m., you will never get into that class. Like no chance. So that's how I was also usually used to book my classes at the berries and like by putting like reminders to book it actually. And now Miora does it for me. And the idea generally is to make people happy and healthy and make health like an easy experience by having an agent that proactively understands you and puts you together with your friends into classes. Gives you a feeling of community. Also in an era where software is so easy to build, there's no crazy mode there right now, right? If you're not like building in biotech or hardware or robotics. So in the future, as we go along, and most of us won't have any jobs anymore in 5 years, curated experiences and in real life experiences with like community are becoming more important. We've gone through a pivot, so we've been working on this new idea for the past 4 weeks, kind of relaunched. Now, why is that? Basically, when we came here, we started the Founders Inc. program in January. That was like a program that lasted for 5 weeks. We're still at Founders Inc. Basically, Founders Inc. is like an accelerator here in SF. They have a beautiful, beautiful location at Fort Mason, which is like straight at the water. They do like teams of like 50% hardware, 50% software. So you have like people here building crazy roboters, like AI pads, roboters that bring you like, I don't know, like servants basically. You have people building roboters to take away snow. You have people building like Pixar lamps, like many, many crazy things. And it was a 5 weeks program with like 200 people. Many solo founders, many also teams building in different areas, also even consumer. And it was a bit like structured. You had like weekly ship it sessions on Fridays. You had like chats with the partners. You had like a few learnings on when it comes to like storytelling, product, etc. I think one of the major things that they pushed here is like basically post a lot of content. And it was great to connect with people from all over the world, right? There were people flying in from the UK, flying in from Africa, from Asia, from everywhere, but also like Americans. It was a crazy mix. And it was cool because you could like learn from each other, right? Some people that came in are like 18-year-old uni dropouts, which is very common in the States, right? In Europe, if you would tell them, oh, I'm dropping out of uni, people would be looking at you as if you were crazy. And then you had also like 43-year-old people, like one of the guys, basically his wife was pregnant and was about to pop a baby in 3 weeks. And he came here to build his roboter, which was also very crazy. But it was great to connect like with other founders in the space and like, see the grind and see like on how everyone is like tackling stuff. Some people sold apps already. Some people sold companies before. It was a very great diversity of people coming together.
Amazing. That's something that seems to be really prevalent in the US, to have these communities of people, these environments where founders are really supported. So that's a great thing. Karina, I'll be wondering, because you introduced Miora previously, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you position Miora as different from the ordinary health tracking apps, right? You call it more an agentic health assistant. You want to relieve someone from the stress of having to figure the data out by themselves. Could you explain to us more in detail how you are separate from these ordinary tracking devices, right? Because there are tons of apps who promise you to track your health data. What distinguishes you from these players, I would say?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that is important to say is data is democratized. There are many different wearables people can get the data from. There are many different blood test providers, like for example, Superpower. I mean, Germany would be aware, or Aniva, or whatever it is. Like, people can get access to different kind of data, and you have all of this data and you need to understand it, create like a holistic plan yourself or like a protocol. And then you need to manually act on it, put it into your calendar, also figure out what days do I do what, like what's the best workout routine, what are the best supplements for me, where do I order them, what fits with my goals, what fits with my health data. Like you need to figure out so many things. Then you need to do like meal plans basically, or like, figure out where you order new food. And like, especially here in the US, I don't remember the last time when I cooked, to be honest, because time is very limited. I used to cook every night, but yeah, it just doesn't happen anymore, right? So for me, my interface is like DoorDash basically. And I'm like annoyed of like scrolling through it, and I just want my agent to know what I want to eat and like order for meat. So that being said, the second point is we do 35,000 decisions per day. Now, founders do up to 50,000 decisions a day. So
You mean us human beings, right? I mean, in general.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
Yep.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now imagine 95% of your behavior is unconscious. Now, how many of those decisions that you take will be unconscious? And that being said, 60% of Americans are chronically ill based on decisions that they do when it comes to working out, when it comes to what they eat, when it comes to their stress levels, when it comes to like yeah, when it comes to just basically like health decisions. Now, imagine if you remove the friction and the decision load and decision fatigue that people have to have when deciding on their health, which is you need to create like an environment for people that they can actually change their habits and become healthy. It takes 21 days to create a new habit. And how do you do that? Is by basically creating an environment for people where they don't need to take that many decisions until that habit changes. So people not going to grocery stores anymore, people not having to decide on what they need to eat. I mean, in the end, I believe like not a lot of people care what they actually eat. I mean, they want something, or like for example, me, I want something healthy, and I want variety. So I don't want to only hit my macros, but I want to help my macros. If you know that I ate like yesterday, I don't know, asparagus and pumpkin, then probably today I should be eating like avocado and I don't know, broccoli or something like that, right? So having that variety as well. And what we aim to do is basically automate that for people. And that like there's no health agent so far out there doing that for you. There are like thousands of like productivity tools and agents trying to optimize your inbox, trying to optimize your calendar, and there's no tool optimizing your health. So at this point, we are the world's first health agent taking action for you based on that health data. That hasn't been done so far.
Amazing. I think one point that I've noticed talking to other people in this sector is that the real challenge is unlocking behavior change, right? I mean, and that seems
Yes.
to be your rationale here, if I understand correctly. Not
Yes.
just providing people with more data and assuming they're machines and they will take the right consequences out of it. I mean, we're just human beings. And we need to sort of make sure that we change our behaviors, right?
Exactly. I mean, people say it's like impossible to change behavior, but I disagree. It is very well possible to change behavior. You just got to put people in the right environment. That's how people change their behavior. And people are like, people know what is healthy. And most people know it. Like, I mean, they know if they eat McDonald's or whatever people eat here, they know it's not healthy. But like, how do you decrease that? It's by being proactive and just making sure that people don't do things they are not supposed to do. And you can also motivate them by putting them together into classes. I mean, that's what I started doing as Miora. Is like I put people together in classes, like in workout classes. That's what gives them most joy. You put them together into various classes. You put them together um, into hikes, or I don't know, ice bath and sauna sessions. That's what we do right now, and that's how people become eventually happier and healthier and fitter together.
And the environment element is very important when building a business. That's why you're at this founder's house. And I think that's also something where environment plays a role, right? If you have other people building, it's probably easier for you to just go along and do the right things.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
We all know it. We
I
all can relate with this topic, right? With if you create the right environments, we should all it should ring a bell, right? And yeah,
yes, I mean, I don't understand remote culture, for example. I don't believe in
absolutely.
remote culture. Like I
Me
don't know
neither.
why people do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Karina, amazing. Now I'm wondering, maybe to make it more tangible, if someone were to use Miora today, how would that experience look like in practice? Maybe walk us through how would someone um, experience your application as of today, and maybe what are you working on? What features to make it even better?
Sure. So basically, we have an app which we're currently ditching, which is because there are thousands of apps out there, and like having one more is not going to change the world, but also mainly because Apple is just very slow when it comes to approving daily shipments. So app gets on getting rejected. Different people from Apple check the app. Just in general, like shipping with Apple is not the greatest. So that's why we created a web version, which is basically you go on Miora's website, you click one click, text Miora, and by text Miora, you get into iMessages, and there's a message saying, "Hey Miora, get me started." And you text that, and then basically Miora sends you a sign up link. You go on the website, you log in, you create an account via Google or iCloud, and then you integrate your wearable, which is Whoop, Aura, or Garmin at this point, or Apple Watch, sorry, so Apple Health. And then we have integrations at this point with Berries and ClassPass and your Google Calendar. So when you have that all in place, you can basically create a personalized plan with Miora, like a protocol. Let's say you tell Miora what your goals are. Yeah, right. You have an onboarding as well of like you tell Miora, for example, I don't know, I want to build lean muscle, I want to lose weight, I want to reduce my bloating, I want to optimize my hormones, whatever it is. And then Miora creates like a personalized protocol for you. And then she starts booking your, at this point, workout classes for you, or she tells you what you need to do in the gym. For example, my co-founder Nick, he has created like a workout plan for himself for like upper and lower body. And Miora puts it into calendar. He goes to the gym, he checks it, and he does it basically. Then Miora is proactive in sense of she understands your wearables. So when she sees, for example, oh, Karina, great, she's preparing for a marathon next month, and she's been like sleeping 5 hours per night and like running and working out too much. Miora is like, girl, chill down. You need a bit more of recovery. So that's what she does. So she's like proactive in that way. I can set different kind of actions slash reminders. So for example, I have reminders for example, for fasting every Tuesday, or reminders to take my supplements. And also like when I'm trying a new behavior change, or for example, quitting coffee, I tell Miora, and then she nudges me like every day of like, hey, no coffee today. This is the challenge right now. That's kind of how it works at this point.
Amazing. I'll be wondering, I mean, Miora is booking my workouts, ordering my meals, adjusting my schedule, right? Isn't there also maybe a risk that we even outsource those crucial health decisions to maybe an AI? Is that something, if I were to play maybe devil's advocate here, how do we make sure that, or how do you guys make sure that that the person also doesn't lose sort of agency in the entire process? Do you get that question? Does it make sense?
Yes. So I have a firm belief here, which is maybe to set a setting. People used to say, I Google, I don't know, whether you had a question, you used to say, I Google. Then people started saying, I ask Chatty. So GPT basically, right? The next thing is, I don't ask anymore, but it does things for me. Miora will always only do things for you based on approve reject. Imagine if Miora knows your location and you get after workout, for example, in the evening, you did like your berries class, and Miora knows you usually eat at like 8 p.m. She will basically reach out to you and she will ask, are you hungry? Should I order something for you? And then you press approve reject, and she just orders it for you, and you have a meal. You have a variety in your meal because Miora knows what you have been eating before. And there's always like the approve and reject kind of option, right? But it reduces for you the decision fatigue and the organization and the planning and the mental load of things. I believe we have so much trust in AI right now. I believe in the US more than, of course, in Germany. I think one of the things that is still a bit tricky. What we are working on right now is like agentic payments. Right now, Miora has all the context, and she orders and books things for you through other platforms based on the card details that you have there. But what if Miora has your card on file and can kind of autonomously do things for you without ordering, like, for example, 10 meals by accident? That is, I think, the challenge for AI in general. But people trust AI a lot. I mean, of course, there's always a bit of like, people are like a bit hesitant and maybe not immediately trusted. But as we move forward, especially in SF, there's a lot of trust on trusting agents and trusting AI in general. I mean, we're in the era of slowly moving into into AGI. Everyone is kind of asking themselves when that era will kind of appear. But when that appears, yeah, I think the world will look very different.
Mm. What demographic are you actually targeting? Is it sort of for all demographics, or did you start out maybe focusing on, because I think you started off initially, right, focusing more on women's health as well. Could you share with us
Yes.
which demographic you're targeting, addressing, and yeah, some words about that?
Basically, initially we did female health, but we realized that it does not fit anymore, given different kind of reasons. But right now we are focusing on Gen Z and millennials, male and women that are founders or people working in tech or like stressful job, or like even like lawyers or like investors, and who want to optimize their health, who are already healthy and want to optimize it better. So who are also willing to pay for that by having things automated for themselves. People who are trying to change their workout routines, people who want to try new things and like connect with community around that. Um, the typical pastor would be, for example, 28 years old, working, for example, here in an AI lab, and already working out, like running a lot, but knows that variety here is not giving, wanting to connect with more people, wanting to eat healthier, and not like have a quick decision of like going to Chipotle or like ordering Chipotle because it's like super quick, but wanting to do it healthier and like quicker without like decision fatigue.
Could you share some words about the business model, or how you would how that would work? Does it sort of, would each member pay? Would it be sort of a B2C model where customers pay, or is it, would you maybe partner up with other companies and include your offering somehow on a layer of another company?
Yes. I mean, we have paid users. And basically, so either people pay in the States, it's $99 per year or $12 monthly. And they do pay for that. And it's a B2C first model. And further down the road, we will be doing affiliate for like, so for example, personalized supplements that we're currently working on. But then also where we think we will bring value to add is like bringing also users to things like class berries and Equinox and stuff. So getting like an affiliate kind of revenue share thing there as well. Basically, short term, it's a B2C subscription,
Mhm.
um, having the affiliate for personal supplements and basically also like partnerships with like those big players because we're bringing users to them. And that's kind of it.
Amazing. I would love to maybe take a look at the industry as a whole. I mean, you've been working in the space for a long while. I've been exploring it, and I actually like the wellness word. Actually, I mean, it's becoming a dimension of everything. I mean, everything's becoming sort of wellness: how we eat, how we sleep, how we work. And you essentially also want to build an essential part of that infrastructure, right? For this wellness infrastructure. Where do you see this maybe going in the next few years, your company? What's your thesis also on how wellness tech will evolve as a whole?
I mean, as I mentioned before, software is getting easier and easier to build. Non-technical people can become technical with cloud code. Technical people are not required to have crazy technical skills anymore. Software is getting easier and faster to build. So technology and software alone cannot be the moat. And when we think that in 5 years, most of us won't have jobs anymore because AGI and AI are replacing all of that. And what will be very interesting is actually community and curated experiences because people will have more time because it won't need to work. So they will have more time to spend with their friends, to actually be together with community and become healthy and healthy and like travel and whatever it is. So that's going to be very interesting actually. Creating communities, like creating a community of like 1 billion people who want to live a healthy and happy life is going to be very interesting. And creating like experiences for those people as they have more time and resources available.
So you don't see yourself purely as another health app, but rather about as a community player also that connects sort of these offerings that are out there in the ecosystem with the customers and the users. Or
Yes.
how can I
Yes.
see it?
So
Okay,
basically,
okay.
what we're doing it now is we're using AI to enable services. Right now, I'm Miora, which is also I'm coaching a few people and creating like personalized plans for them. Later on, it will be taken over by the team of health agents only. And then further down the road, I mean, what we're doing right now is also we're doing like weekly community sessions of bringing people together, and that's all the thing that's going to matter. I don't believe building an app nowadays makes sense. Like, I honestly don't think this can be like the most anyone can build an app right now in a matter of minutes or hours, depending on how good it is. But like everyone can like vibe code, everyone can create something easily. There are different tools like I don't know, there's Lovable, there's Vabi, there's mm, Bloom. There are so many, like there's Webflow. There are so many different tools on like on creating apps. So technology alone won't be the mode. It's more about like community and the people, especially for consumer, right? For like deep tech, robotics, hardware, it's very clear it's something else. For B2B, it's like in the end the revenue that you're generating in a quick amount of time. And for consumer, it is in the end community as well.
Could you share with us some insights how you sort of building that community? What is sort of I know that you guys are also building in public, right? um, what's what's the strategy here to really build a big community, right? To get to this 1 billion people who are sort of part of the Miora community in some shape or form.
I think I used to be like ashamed of being a community builder, or like, I thought it's not like a real asset to have, but I realized it's actually crazy asset to have. And I think it has to do something with the fact that I moved around a lot when I was a kid. And so every time when you enter a new city/country, you have to make new friends and adapt very quickly and like change environments and like, build your new kind of network there. I started community building very early on. I love hosting. I love organizing. So for me, it's like very natural to bring together a huge group of friends and host a dinner or put them on a hike or put them together in like workout classes. And that's what I've been doing over the years, just like very naturally. And that's how we have like grown our community. So everywhere where I go, for example, I'm flying to New York on Wednesday. I'm hosting like a healthcare founders and funders dinner on Thursday with a friend of mine. It's very easy for me to kind of leverage community and network and bring people together. And people love being brought together, especially when you feel like those are like-minded people. Those are people that, that I can understand, that have the same interests, that are interested in the same things like I am, that are trying to optimize their health. And in the end, I think next to health, what is the second most important thing? It's community, right? Because spending time with friends and your ones is what makes you happy ultimately. Ultimately.
It's probably the most important element of health, right? Karina, I mean, you're now in the US, spending some while over there, but you're European, as you mentioned before. I'll be curious, first of all, what are overall differences that you're witnessing or experiencing, comparing maybe SF to Europe, and in particular, what are you seeing in terms of the health and wellness space? What are major differences between Europe and the US?
What I love about SF and Americans is when you meet someone here, and for example, you're new to the Bay Area, or like how you end a meeting is basically, how can I help you? And then how can you potentially help me? But like, I feel like everyone here is like hyping and cheering for each other and rooting for each other. And it's very natural that people are like, trying to help you in thousands of ways. And by introing you, by helping you, like telling you what they did in order to succeed. So it's like a very open, like kind of sharing and like helping each other culture. Whereas I feel like in Europe, Germany, Switzerland, whatever it is, people are not there. I feel like people are not like really supporting each other through crazy communities or like, doing coffee chats and be like ending the call with like, hey, I can help you this way. I've done that before. Or like, hey, the other person can help you. So that is something for sure. Also for sure speed. I mean, the work culture here is very different to Europe. Not comparable, to be honest. And it is also kind of fun. And then also, of course, here I guess when there's a new breakthrough in AI, people know it first here, and then like a few months later, it's kind of present and in Europe. In terms of health and wellness, people here are, I feel like, way stronger when it comes to building a personal brand and like building um, a distribution channel out of that, especially on tools like Twitter. So, I mean, the biggest platform here is usually Twitter. That's where people mostly like post and like kind of share their public building approach. And that is also for sure something. I mean, Twitter is not really big on Europe. Yeah, those are the 3 points.
Absolutely. Karina, I'll be wondering, maybe in terms of growth, go-to-market, how has your growth been so far at Miora? How has the feedback been, and what are maybe challenges so far in scaling Miora?
Yes, I mean, so far how we got to our users was basically through mostly organic content via LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and further down the road, we will onboard UGC creators. I think Call AI has done a very good example of doing that, a very clear case for like TikTok. I think TikTok is a very great platform for us, for example, when finally taking also it end to hand. And challenges, I mean, we're using computer use for basically the booking stuff, which is still a bit slow. And we need to make that faster. So, for example, the product right now is not, it has a few hiccups. It doesn't work all the time. And like those bugs are something we're trying to fix. Um, and that is for sure a challenge, thing that we're working on right now.
Amazing. I'll be wondering now, Karina, what is sort of the roadmap now for the time to come at Miora? Do you guys have sort of a 5-year plan or a vision idea where this could be heading? Would be lovely, if possible, if you can share a couple of things about the timeline. I know it's difficult to predict all the things, especially in those times, but do you have any roadmap ahead and any things that you could share about that here in the podcast?
So the long-term plan is basically the data set that we're creating can be used for development of drugs. So there is, for example, right now, no drug for PCOS, no drug for endometriosis or similar things. There are being like pills and drugs used that are actually not done for that condition. That's very interesting, having that data set of like the wearables, the labs, the symptoms, the health history, and the behavior, and using that in order to actually help people have better health. Then in terms of short term, we have figured out the workouts part. The next part that we're figuring out is like basically the food and supplements thing. We're in process of creating the personalized supplements for people in order to optimize their health. I believe having 10 supplements anymore doesn't really suit the current age of supplements. So we're creating personal supplements with a friend of mine, and also agentic payments is something I mentioned. That's like something that is like 6 months out, basically giving Miora a card on file, and she can then book things for you and order things for you on her own without you having to really interact with that. Basically saving you time. And what is, I think, the perfect experience for me is to have like a one-click kind of thing that helps you to achieve your goals immediately. So basically, imagine when you're on board a Miora, you just text Miora, and then immediately she interacts and integrates with all of your relevant platforms and your health data on its own, without you having to upload anything, without you having to log in anywhere, without you having to kind of interact with your phone at all, but it kind of happens automatically. The same thing when it comes to like, ordering an Uber or like putting down an address. She just knows like where you're going. So having that really frictionless experience from A to Z is something that we are working on, and also connecting to smart environments. I mean, in a few years, all of us won't only have like a sleep-aid mattress, but have in completely smart environments of like having smart curtains and smart light. You wake up in the morning, your smart curtains open, you go to the bathroom, and you have a smart toilet, you have a smart toothbrush, you have a smart fridge, and like Miora is kind of the health agent that monitors and makes everything happen for you without you having to really think about it and run your health.
Amazing. Great. Rina, is there anything else you would like to share with the audience? Thank you very much for sharing that vision. I mean, that was quite nicely described.
Yes. First of all, Germany needs to change its AI health-related policies and laws. I think that's a big thing. And the second thing, for people who want to test Miora, please test Miora. Let me know how your user experience is and what you wish for. And then come join a run or a session with us. And I believe everyone should at least once in their startup journey visit SF and get a hang of it. Because I feel like it really inspires people and motivates them to see on what's happening here.
Amazing. I've heard that before. You should at least visit SF for inspiration. Totally agree. Karina, thank you very much for joining us today, and all the best on your journey.
Thank you so much. Thanks, I appreciate it.